welcome to the next instalment of 5-minute martial art lessons with Chief. Today we're looking at Kutsilyo from the Filipino martial arts and how we can deploy the knife from the waistline. Now, if you don't have a knife utility belt with the sheaths on it so that you can place your knives in the correct position, then if you have a martial art belt you can train in this fashion also. So we're just working on deployment of the weapon from the hip line or the belt line. There are lots of different positions I could carry the knife. Here I'm going to be, for the training structure that we're going to use for the basics, we're looking at carrying two knives so that we can deploy left and right. So understanding the orientation of your blade is really important when you're fixing them to the waistline. I can have the blades with the handles forward like this, so that as I draw, I would be in a reverse grip position if I draw on a regular grip, this way or this way. Or if I was to draw on a cross draw, then I would be in a long grip position. Cross draw on this side would be a long grip position. Okay, so it's important to understand where your belts are, or your knives are on your belt, and the orientation of the blade. If I were to turn this the other way, I will be able to draw on this side of the weapon and end up in a long grip position. It would be difficult to do a reverse draw here though, okay? So I may not want to have my knife orientating in this position, as it would make it difficult. However, if I did a cross draw, then I would deploy it in a reverse position. So it's important to play around with the location of the knives and the orientation of the blade, so that when you draw, you know if you're going to be in a reverse grip position or a long grip position. Okay, that's an important factor in training this method. Here I've got the blades located on the front of my hip line, or waistline. You could have one on the front, one on the back, one on the front, one on the back, both on the back. You also have different locations, so you could have underarm draw, you could have over shoulder draws as well with the blades. But here, for basics, we're just looking at the waistline. So, first thing to do is to get used to doing a same side draw of the blade. So here I've deployed the weapon into the reverse grip with my right hand. I can do the same with my left, just learning how to deploy that weapon. Getting a good grip on it and getting into the game. I can learn to do the cross draw and bring my weapon out ready to deploy in the long grip. Again, I can do the cross draw on the right hand, and again, this is going to allow me to deploy the weapon into a long grip position. So once you've got the idea of being able to just pick up the blades from your waist in that fashion, either in the regular grip or in the cross grip. Now when we're doing the cross grip, we want to turn the body so that we can draw out away from the body here. Okay? Same as if I'm in this grip, I might want to hide the fact that I'm drawing a blade in this fashion, and I can draw behind, and now I'm in to the game here. Okay? Once you've got that down, we start looking at how we can put the deployment of the weapon into our punching sequences. Because in Filipino martial arts, you're not just going to get into a knife fight, necessarily. There's a concept of starting off empty-handed, and at some point, either drawing your own weapon, or having the ability to steal the weapon from your opponent. I know this sounds all a little bit crazy, but this is all part of the Filipino culture. So we include it in our martial arts structure, as it's very informative on hand placement within the flow of mano-a-mano, or hand-to-hand fighting. So here we're going to look at throwing the jab, the cross, the hook, the overhand, the uppercut, and the uppercut, and how we can deploy the weapon from those positions. So first of all, as I throw the jab, instead of maintaining my guard as I normally would for the normal boxing, I'm going to bring the hand down to deploy my weapon, and now I can get into the knife game. So that's off the jab. Here I go jab, jab, deploy, and now I'm in. Do the same with the cross. Here's the cross. As I throw the cross, I drop the left hand, and again I can draw the weapon, and now I'm into the game on this left hand side with my blade. Next we look at the hook. I throw the hook, throw the hook, throw the hook, and deploy the knife. Overhand. Here's the overhand, 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 and now I'm into the knife game. All simple stuff, but important to recognise location of your weapon and be able to access it very easily. Next, we have the lead uppercut, lead uppercut, lead uppercut, and now I'm in. And finally, the rear uppercut, rear uppercut, rear uppercut, and now we've deployed this weapon. So, let's have a look at that again. We have the jab, and at some point I'm going to deploy my knife, across, deploy the blade, the hook, working the hook, and deploy the knife, the overhand, 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 and here we are. Lead uppercut, lead uppercut, lead uppercut, and we're in. Rear uppercut, rear uppercut, rear uppercut, and we're in with the knife. So, work on blade deployment from the waistline, 2 blades, regular deployment, cross deploy, coming across here, then working from single punch, isolation, withdraw. Once you've got that down, you start working into combinations. So what this now allows you to do is, if you work on the blade part of the structure, out of your boxing, at any point, you can deploy either weapon and get that into the game. Because it may be that your opponent understands how also to do this and draws the weapon on you. So it's important to have that visual recognition and awareness of your opponent and of your own person. This highlights and heightens your awareness about everything you're doing within the structure of combat. Go train it. It's a lot of fun. Have fun with it. That's the main thing. But on a serious note, it's an important aspect of Filipino blade culture. So get those skills down and train hard, train safe, and I'll see you on the next 5-minute martial art lesson with Chief.